flushed with earlier success. Now once again I must confess my PK for the second time will be presented all in rhyme. But this time you can help me out, and if you guess a rhyme, call out. Let's put the theory to the test. The opposite of east is born in 1951. My name is Philip Green, and as I reach my diamond year, I'll tell you what I've seen, how flavours of the month that regularly hit the scene, that came and went, we'd reinvent. I'll show you what I mean. It hardly now seems credible, yet undisputed fact, that 20 years ago I stood before a group called TACT. I argued then with passion that computers play a part, but fundamentally you must keep learners at the heart. For learning and development, my mantra was perform. Now I confess this message hardly took the room by storm. The IBM PC was built, and boy did it impress. 600-pound gorilla in the jungle was MS. But L&D was unperturbed. At that time it was churning lots of workbooks out under the title Distance Learning. We loved our acronyms, and so we called them DLBs. In rainforests throughout the world, they had to plant more trees. Self-actualization was the goal, or so we thought, and Maslow's hierarchy was the theory that was taught, and other names were spoken in hushed tones in the classroom, where Train the Trainer happened: Knowles, Kolb, Gagne, Briggs and Bloom. For some came disappointment, with their efforts 0 rated. So multiple intelligence appeared and was debated, and left brain, right brain theory was a matter quite confusing to trainers who believed their role was just to be amusing. One day a white knight came along. Its name was NLP. For many trainers this was just the perfect place to be. Sexier than learning styles, even MBTI. We waited eagerly to see what next would reach the sky. With budgets closely focused on compliance and conformance, the way to keep your training job was engineer performance. But if you thought that obvious, you ain't seen nothing yet. It hadn't so far twigged that we might use the internet. And then it did. The World Wide Web arrived in '93, and those who funded training very soon began to see a way of getting more for less. It seemed like a gold mine. Procure an authoring tool and put your training all online. But just be sure to sell it for the users, add attraction, and thus was born the concept that we now call interaction. The tools and systems were exciting, some might say seductive, and trainers rubbed their hands with glee. It all was so productive. Alas, the outputs did not always work quite as intended, and very soon the call went up. You'll have to have that blended. The notion mix-up learning strategies became immense, as if part of the computer age, and not just common sense. Still, zealots tried to force all projects through the techno door. Traditionalists were not really sure what it was for, so we climbed upon our learning cycles, set off for the sun, all in our resourceful states. It really was such fun. L&D. No service now, it has become a movement, and every tiny bookshop has a shelf on self-improvement. Hear the podcast, write the wiki, browse the volume's pages, take your own appendix out in 7 easy stages. You have to toe the line these days. You have to learn the lingo and never sit in conferences playing bullshit bingo. And if you need to check if your accomplishments are normal, worry not, remember, that most learning is informal. Formal or informal, either is my yardstick ruler, by seminar or webinar or even water cooler, synchronous, asynchronous, so me, who me, why me. Learning and development is still the place to be. I guess I'm just a dinosaur. And yet I might prevail as long as I can understand technology's long tail and treat all games respectfully, remembering I'm earning credit for my CPD. There's no escape from learning. Nothing much to separate the E from multimedia, except to say e-learning is expected so much speedier. Now, it's not a matter of delivering to please, but rather more to bring about performance guarantees. Tell 'em what you mean to tell, then tell it loud and clear. Then tell 'em what you've told 'em, echoes loudly in my ear. My work is done today, and so, but wait, hold back those cheers. Here is the final message, with thanks to my volunteers. Before I can conclude my theme, I ask what's new, and that invokes the mantra of this age. Twitto, twitas, twitat. Come on now, join the spirit, for I'd like to hear you chant as I depart. You play your part. Twitamus, twitatis.